Ollie! Hey, Ollie.
Oliver.
You've been at that PlayStation.
You've been at that Xbox for a while.
How long have you been playing video games for? Why are you wasting your time? You are wasting your time. You could have been such a good baseball player. Your father.
It's not even real.
It's not even real.
It's not even real. I read online. I saw this video on the Facebook.
On the interwebs?
Bill O'Reilly said on Fox News that playing all these video games, it is not healthy to just sit in there playing all these meaningless, stupid,
Sinful.
fake,
Stupid.
video games.
Video games! Maybe you should go outside.
Maybe you should go outside. Just go outside for a couple of hours. You can't play video games. You're fat. It's nice outside. You're really fat. Outside into the real world.
Real world. Bless me. And you.
Video games allow you, the player, to live and experience and do things in their world. Not every game does it perfectly or well at all, but when they do, these games keep players engaged enough to a point where they feel like they're in this universe. I mean, even though they might not literally say, yes, I'm in this universe, when people talk about games, they say things like, I climbed this mountain, I fought these monsters, I beat this boss, or I solved this puzzle. The game isn't engaging and doing things in the universe. You are. You are in this world. And these worlds are absolutely incredible now. They surpass the highs and transcend the lows of the reality we live in. Because the major differences between the real world and the game world is that games are design, right? See, the values, functions, and mechanics of a game can easily be changed, and they often are, for the sake of creating the most perfect reality possible. And that is the inherent goal of games, to create the most enjoyable reality to be in. The real world, on the other hand,
SAE, sexual assault expected.
Other fraternities right throughout the Greek system, right across the country.
That's what the church is doing to shoo away the homeless.
I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball.
But I'm actually a Canadian citizen.
7 of 10 graduating students left college last year in debt.
Yay! Red, white, and blue!
is not like that. So, here's how games immerse players into their worlds. Designers use several methods, characteristics, and design choices, the biggest characteristic being tactility, the controller, the quintessential part of a video game. By definition, a video game is an experience that cannot progress unless the proper input is given. You can't move forward in the world unless you offer some physical movement. Typically, you'd only move your thumbs and fingers, but even this is enough to make someone feel like they're in this other world. The direct correlation between your inputs on the controller and the events on the screen essentially make them feel as if they're one and the same, but not like entirely the same, right? Like, we're not idiots. We could obviously tell that we're holding plastic controllers looking at a series of animated images, but really anything that suspends our disbelief or makes the brain focused on the game and less focused on the fact that it's merely just a series of pixels being projected on a plastic rectangular screen can make this and this feel like they're one. Things like interactivity with items in the world, cognitively demanding environments, consistent and logical set of systems, consistent and coherent visual language, responsive and satisfying controls, sounds that match events on the screen, and many, many more. Designers have to make all these characteristics work together, otherwise players won't be interested. They have an incentive to create a more perfect reality, and they do. In Super Meat Boy, when you fail at conquering an incredibly difficult situation, it's your fault, but the punishment for making mistakes is minimal, which encourages players to keep trying until they feel a genuine satisfaction that they have beaten something that was seemingly impossible minutes before. But when you're taking a math test or something, the teachers haven't truly made sure you completely understand the concepts. You are taking that test whether you get it or not. Then after you realize, oh, I didn't understand everything, well, it's too late. You're on to the next lesson. What's up with that shit? In any racing game, if you get hit by a car and crash, it's cause you suck at driving. It's your fault, but you get to try again. In real life, you get hit by a car, there were trillions of variables that were completely out of your control that led up to that very moment. Even if you had some understanding of how the world works and you followed the rules that life had given you, you could just fail at life. just because. It might not be your fault, but you'd still have to suffer the incredibly horrible consequences. Fucking sucks! It's bullshit! Now, it's common for people to use beautiful vistas of the real world when trying to convince me to go outside. Or rather, they use stock video footage of expensive places when trying to convince me to go outside. But at this point, visuals in games surpass the real world. When designers are given the power to carefully craft an environment and its visual style, you get these incredible looking worlds that can't be replicated in the real world. It's a prime incentive for designers to create the most fun, rewarding, and immersive world. The real world just isn't like that. The rules aren't conveyed clearly, and even if they are, the rules might not be fair, not everyone will follow those rules, and yes, there is a lot of beauty in the world, but most of it is ugly and unappealing, and there's not an incentive to make everything look amazing. Oh, come on, Ollie, life ain't that bad. No! Life is that bad. I mean, rewards in life aren't clear. They always come with caveats, and they're so subjective. So many people don't know what's right and what's wrong. Victories are always questionable, and so are failures. It's chaos. None of it really makes sense, no matter how hard we try to make sense of it. I mean, we try to make sense of it, right? With boxes, increments, and arbitrary measurements, time, language, politics, but the world is still nonsense. None of it really works the way it can. The best thing that we've created that takes all these things and makes them function properly are fucking video games! Because of its programmable and designable nature, because of its inherent need to be engaging and enjoyable, it becomes a better reality than reality. The outside world is nonsense. It is a poor attempt at order and control. The further we go inside, the more sane we stay. Which is why I'm never going outside again. It's really not that crazy when you think about it. I mean, you already try to stay inside as much as possible on a day-to-day basis. You stay inside your home until you get inside your car or bus or whatever, and then you get inside some building where you work until the next day, and then it repeats. And yeah, there are exceptions, but they're exceptions, not the rule.
I kinda like it out here!
Most people go out into the real world and say, oh shit, I've been stuck at this university for 4+ years and still don't have enough internships or money or experience to get a real job. And then you realize, oh, these 4+ years have also been a total waste of time because your major in theater and art is said to make less money than the average all majors. And by the way, the past 2 generations of your family moved from their homeland so you can have a living here in the US, which isn't possible as an artist unless you're Kanye West. Also, good luck finding a place to live in any major US city, because the money you'll make can't afford that $3,000 a month closet apartment. Also, you're graduating in a month. Figure this shit out immediately. You don't have a choice. The outside world is just a mess of broken, poorly designed systems and mechanics that make me not want to engage with it. It's a world I do not want to immerse myself in. So that is what outside means to me. Outside is the real world. And in the real world, everything is subjective. The video games inside my home are live enough to be unique experience every time, but controlled and designed and systematic enough to bring some objectivity to it, something to rely on. You can't rely on the world. Did I follow the rules of the road? Yep. Did I not get hit by a car? Nope. Am I gonna graduate on time? Probably not. Was it my fault? Nope. Am I gonna find any roles in Hollywood or on Broadway as a Filipino actor? No. Do I have a shot at designing or writing or making videos about video games? They have always been something I could rely on.